Seventh point. Seventh point is wait. We have to wait for 5 minutes. Then we have to remove the temperature. Then clean the thermometer with the cotton swab from the stem to the ball part of the thermometer, and then we have to read it at an eye level to check an accurate level of the mercury in the stem. Then add 1 Fahrenheit for 0.3 degrees Celsius. So if we have 37 point or 38.3 degrees Celsius, then if we convert it into Fahrenheit, we have to add 1 Fahrenheit for each 0.3 degree Celsius. Now then we have to shake it gently so that mercury levels get falls, and that is below the 95 degree Fahrenheit or 35 degrees Celsius. Then we have to place the thermometer in a disinfectant solution to clean it, and then we have to discard the tissues and the cotton balls which are being used during the procedure, and then we have to record the temperature which we have assessed during the procedure in the sheet or in the file of the patient. Now, what are the disadvantages of this procedure? The axilla is the most moist area. So due to moisture, there is a chance of false reading. So the axilla part is the most moist with a area with the most of the moisture present. So due to this moisture, there is a chance of getting a false or inaccurate form of result of the temperature. Now, if the bulb is not placed properly, then if it goes beyond the skin fold and come in contact to the air, then there will be a chance of getting an false or inaccurate result. So if the bulb is not present exactly in between the skin or in with the contact with the skin, and if it gets beyond the fold and gets in a contact with the air, then there will be a chance or the temperature won't be accurate. Now the temperature by the rectum. So the advantages of the temperature by the rectum. The rectum method is used when the oral method is contraindicated. So here the rectum method is being used when the oral or the auxiliary methods are being contraindicated. So this is the most reliable and easy method because there is a large amount of the blood supply in that region or that part. So there will be less chance of air contact in that part. So this is the reliable, most reliable method. Now disadvantages, it needs a privacy. So the auxiliary one and the oral one doesn't need an privacy, but this rectal temperature taking procedure needs an fully privacy, and it needs to be lubricated. So here the thermometer needs to get lubricated for an easy insertion in the rectum. Chances of soiling of the hand. So here is the chances where the nurse getting soiled or getting dirty. So if the rectum is loaded with an fecal material, we get false reading. So if the rectum part is loaded or filled with an fecal materials or feces inside, so there can be chance of getting false or inaccurate form of levels, accurate levels of the temperature. Now contraindications. Patient with a rectal surgery and inflammation. So here, if the patient is having an rectal surgery or undergone within rectum surgery, or if he or she is having an inflammation, so this procedure will be contraindicated. Now, patient with diarrhea. So if the patient is having diarrhea, so this procedure won't be able to perform on such patient having diarrhea. When rectum is loaded with fecal material, then we can contraindicate this procedure, and patient which is going under the treatment with the enema and bowel wash. So if patient is having or is undergoing a treatment like enema or bowel wash, then this procedure should be contraindicated in such patients. Now temperature by ear, that is the tympanic membrane, tympanic temperature, that is temperature or a thermometer that is being used to take the temperature through the ears. Now, tympanic membrane receives the same blood supply which supplies to the hypothalamus. So, the hypothalamus is the part of the brain that regulates the core temperature, that is the inner body temperature. So, this is the part where the blood supply is the most, and in the same, that is the tympanic membrane, same receives the same blood supply to that part. So the ear is readily accessible and it permits rapid temperature reading in younger, confused and unconscious. So this is a type of a procedure that is very easily accessible, and it even permits and rapid and immediate temperature reading in all type of all age type. Now, say, cerumen or otitis media doesn't significantly affect the temperature. So here if the patient is having an inflammation, infections or any liquid discharges from the ear, this doesn't affect the temperature here by the tympanic temperature thermometer. So what is the alterations in the body? So till here we studied about the types of the temperature taking and even the procedures as well as the advantages and disadvantages and the contraindications too. So now what another topic is alteration in the body temperature. So what all the alterations can be seen and what terms is used for such alterations of in the temperature that are being noticed or checked in the body. So first is hyperpyrexia. Hyper means high and pyrexia means fever. So hyperpyrexia means the fever that goes above 105 Fahrenheit. Now hypothermia. Hypo means less and thermia means temperature or the fever. So if the temperature falls below 95 degrees Fahrenheit, that will term as the hypothermia. So here, which gland regulates our body temperature? So the gland which regulates our body temperature is the hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus sits under the thalamus at the top of the brainstem. So it is located in the brain, and although the hypothalamus is very small, it controls mostly all the critical body functions in our body. So it controls the autonomic nervous system, the central and the emotional, as well as the response of the emotional and the behavioral change. Then it regulates the temperature, it regulates all the food intakes, then it regulates the water balance and the thirst, then it controls the sleep and awake cycles, and it also controls the endocrine system. Now, what is the pathophysiology of the fever? So, how does the temperature gets rise in our body? So, here first step is entry of pyrogen or pathogen, that is virus or bacteria in our body. So, when the pathogen or bacteria or virus gets entered in our body, so that is the first step. Now, second step, the bacteria or the virus that which is being entered in our body will act as an antigen. Now, third, it stimulates immune response. So, after acting as an antigen, it will respond in an it will stimulate an immune response in our body, and that will increase our WBC count as well as the production of the WBC, that is the white blood cell, will be increased. Now, antigen and antibody reaction takes place in the body, and here this stimulates hypothalamus to rise the threshold. So here, after antibody and antigen reaction takes place, the hypothalamus gets stimulated and it will rise the temperature in our body. So heat production and conservation in the body. Then the client feels chill, cold with raised temperature. Now here, after the heat production, that is stimulated by the antibody and antigen reactions, stimulated by the hypothalamus, will produce the heat, and that will cause chill, that is shivering, cold with a raised temperature. So the patient will feel temperature high and will shiver So this will be the symptoms, and the chills will subside. Client feels warm, dry, with strong immunity of body or antibodies. Antigen will be disrupted. So if the patient or the person is having a strong immunity, so the antibodies and the antigen will be disrupted. So here, if the patient is having a strong immunity, he has no chance of getting fever, and there won't be an antibody antigen reactions taking place that would stimulate the heat production by the hypothalamus. So if the patient or a person who has a low immunity would have more chance of getting fever. Now, hypothalamus new threshold will drop, initiate heat loss from the body, and warm and flushing skin, that is the vasodilatations and diaphoresis, and fever cools down a febrile. So here the warm and skin flushing, that is skin will feel warm, that is due to the vasodilation, that is increase in the diameter of the vessels, blood vessels. So that is vasodilation, and diaphoresis means sweating, that is especially and with an unusual degree as a symptoms of any disease. So if the patient is having fever, that will cause sweating. So this is known as diaphoresis, that is related to the changes in the body or related to the side effect. It can be also related with the side effects of the drugs. Now, after the diaphoresis occurs, there will be the fever will cool down or the temperature will be lessened. And a febrile means, so here a febrile means something or a symptoms that shows that we have a fever. That a febrile means showing the symptoms of fever, but actually the fever or the temperature doesn't exist. But febrile means the symptoms of getting or feeling like we have fever. Thank you.